Let me throw one thing at you that's currently not the case right now, but just keep this in mind. Throughout the country, all exterior steel or wooden stairs are subject to the inspection rules. That's not the case here. So think about the residential. All exterior steel or wooden stairs, balconies, bridges, living balconies, fire escapes are covered under this inspection rule. So we're just talking about fire escapes. When you go beyond that, motels that have those platforms and staircases, these train station staircases, there's all these staircases out there that are going to fall in the future if that's the way it goes. Because if it's used as a means of egress, it should be under one code. So all exterior steel or wooden stairs used for the purpose of egress must be inspected under this code. So they may or may not, close that up because that's a loophole that people are getting out. So all these residential properties, all these commercial properties, all these wooden porches, they all get sucked into it because if you can lose your life getting in there, you want it to be inspected on a routine basis. So look at this one.
This was my fault. This is one that we were talking about a little bit earlier. This is the one where they had removed the fireman's ladder up over the top, from the top of the upper balcony rail, on up over the roof. It had been cut off and removed. They left that 3-foot segment on the balcony itself, cut out the next piece, cut off the tail piece down here, and just had those 2 little pieces of fireman's ladder. They also had a cable attached to one of these that ran across the street to the other building. So they could hang things on. That was creative. Basically, we came back on this and we had them, there's another fire escape around the corner. They had to replace the fireman's ladder. When the engineer got into it and discovered that he couldn't figure out how to make it go back to the original dimensions for width on the firefighter's ladder, they had to change the handrails to accommodate the very narrow 12-inch wide ladder.
Oh yeah,
which was balked at but approved by those above. So we have the issue of an unusual firefighter's ladder going up here, but at least it's back in place. It's actually connected more appropriately. We've got something to work with besides the others. These 2 fire escapes went through about 9 to 12 months of work before they finally finished it up. It can be a very long, drawn-out process, and this is a relatively responsible property owner. This is somebody who wants to try, but because they're as big as the Fire Bureau, their process is very slow, and we had to work with them on it. We got them all cleaned up. You're looking at good paint. We're looking at good U-bolts, holding them to the cantilevered iron bar, the iron I-beams that are coming out. They did a good job putting it back together, getting it cleaned up and painted. These were actually sandblasted down to, I believe, SSPC 6, which is basically a near white sandblast, so any paint you put back on it, you pretty much triple the life expectancy from 2 1/3 years to 10 1/3. So it's pretty good as far as that goes. They're sitting with a pretty decent paint job for now. They did do a lot of repairs, but they did not replace all the rivets and nuts and bolts that were on it. Things got load tested. They passed. We've got the affidavits on file. So they're actually sitting probably in better condition than they've been in the life of this stuff since about 10 years after they went up.
Let me throw. Let me throw.
This is missing.
No. That's a very good point, guys. On a fire escape, you must, when you're a standalone fire escape, you must have a complete system to the ground that usually involves a cantilever or a staircase. This is unique because you're crossing a firewall. There's no need for a staircase to the ground. Whenever you cross a firewall, this is nationwide. I basically come out and I kick the window in and I get away. Or I get out from here and I go in and I wait here because I'm crossing a firewall. So that's how fire escapes were originally built. They crossed a firewall first. That's called crossover balconies, used in a lot of row housing. And this is unique because right now there's no need for a ladder because they use each other as a means of egress. And it's allowed. This is called a crossover.
The really unfortunate part of this particular design, this particular setup is that is not what they appealed it away under. Portland's with its unique appeal process. They appealed away the counterbalance stairs on both of these fire escapes because of security issues, and the height of the thing is low enough that we can actually ground ladder it, and that's what the Fire Bureau relies on, the city relies on for final exiting off the fire escape. It's less than perfect, but it's what has grown to be a standard in Portland.
Right,
so
this is grandfathered in.
We were talking about it during lunch as to whether or not we would be able to reverse that trend and come up with something, and that's where my bosses get into the mix, and they'll have to deal with it.
Perfect. So now
I
let's
can
take a
see
look.
an egress window maybe.
Let's take this up and let's look up. Do we see any evidence of maintenance?
Oh yeah.
Any hex head bolts that are clearly visible?
Oh yeah.
How about the welds? The welds on the treads. Looks like they put in a new set of stairs there, all welded. Certified welder.
Yeah.
Look at the I-beams into this wall. How come they have no hangers? I mean, no diagonals coming down.
Cantilever.
How deep do you think those are in there?
Oh, 8 feet.
3 feet at least, right? Those are not-
2/3 of
Those
the
are not
length.
6 to 8 inches deep. Those are like buried into the building somehow. So that's why they can cantilever an I-beam like that with no brackets. Cemented weld looks good. Any other brackets? Look at all the railings and the supports, the ladder. Got new hardware or old hardware?
New.
No, that's well, some of it's new, some of it's old.
course, for the railing.
You got the treads that are got original hardware still on it, but it's
Yeah.
been load tested, so we have to concern ourselves with anything. It's been load tested, right? That's how you nullify something 50 to 75 years old. You load test it. There's your proof, and it's going to be done again in 25 years, let's say. Good paint job. Anything else wrong with this fire escape that you can see?
Just the one little thing growing into it. And we have a problem with our city forester. In order for them to cut that branch back, they have to get a forestry permit. City forester, city tree, get a city permit,
Kelly, I almost
play with the tree.
Okay,
The
I
good news
won't
is
tell
it's
you.
actually free.
I won't tell you because I cut the tree down the street.
It's one of the things that happens. They will grow in. This particular variety of tree does a pretty good job of growing
Two
tall.
owners in this building. This is not one owner. This is two owners. This is a totally separate address. In the past, I don't know if the same guy owns it. It doesn't matter. This is two separate addresses. But this thing can be load tested. Is that original hardware or not?
You gotta get a permit at that.